You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR 680. And today, this morning, actually, if you're out here on the West Coast, the San Francisco Giants finally win a road series as they take the rubber match from the Miami Marlins to win the series 2-1, and on a getaway day nonetheless. Keaton Winn has looked sharp on the hill all season long, and today was rewarded with his first win. Just 1 run in 6 innings of work, and the Giants did just enough at the dish to win this game. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button. Also, thanks for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job breaking down all the numbers you need to know. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment matter more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150. Win or lose, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Keaton Winn, man, he has been so good all season long. I feel like Keaton Winn days are so frustrating most of the time. They have been this year, and it seemed like we were going to have another frustrating day in a Keaton Winn start. He has had very little run support. We've made the joke about 100 times. You look over my right shoulder on the podcast, you see Matt Cain sitting there with the World Series trophy, and Keaton Winn has been getting Matt Cained all season long. What I mean by that is giving up maybe 2 or 3 runs, but only getting like 1 run of support. This is Keaton Winn's 4th start of the season, and he pitched really well in this one. 6 innings of work, 4 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk, 81 pitches, and 53 strikes. He did give up the solo shot, but as we've come to expect with Keaton Winn, he doesn't walk a lot of guys. He doesn't put a lot of guys on base before he gives up the damage shot. I mean, you look at his stats this year, and they're a little skewed because 4 runs came on 1 swing of the bat, if you guys remember correctly, in a game against the Padres, a Profar, a grand slam that barely scraped over the right field wall. And if you remember that inning, Profar shouldn't have even had a chance to bat. Keaton Winn should have gotten out of that inning before Profar even stepped to the dish. And if you take away those 4 runs, he's only given up. I mean, that takes away half the earned runs he's given up all season long. Keaton Winn has been awesome on the hill. He's been really pitching around contact, getting ground ball outs when he needs them. Tonight, the ground ball wasn't working as effectively as it normally is, but he still got the job done. Again, only 1 run tonight for Keaton Winn, and he picks up his first win of the season. The Giants do just enough, just barely got Keaton Winn that win as they scored the go-ahead run after Winn had finished his final half inning of work. So credit the Giants for picking Keaton Winn up and getting this win. If you guys are noticing my voice a little raspy today, I'm still frustrated from that Warriors loss last night. I was yelling and screaming at my TV all night long. So if I'm a little raspy, I apologize. I'm still feeling it from that Warriors loss, yesterday, being bounced out of the play-in tournament and ending their NBA season. But now we can focus solely on the San Francisco Giants. I mean, that is as soon as my voice gets back to normal. But anyways, the Marlins couldn't mount anything after Keaton Winn came out of this game. The Giants threw Eric Miller, Tyler Rogers, and Camilo Doval in the final 3 innings of work, and all 3 of them slammed that door shut. Eric Miller had a really impressive inning of work in this one. He touched triple digits. He had a strikeout, a ground out, a flyout. He looks great. He looks very comfortable on the hill out there. He was kind of shaky when he first came up at the start of the season, which is to be expected for a guy who's never pitched above AA in his career. And he has made a very, very quick adjustment in this Giants bullpen. You look at the Giants bullpen numbers, and statistically, they don't look super great. The beginning of the year was tough for this Giants bullpen, but recently they have been on a heater. I feel like they have been pitching very, very well out of the pen. Tyler Rogers did get into some trouble in this one. He put 2 runners on with 1 out, but he did get a rise to ground into an inning-ending double play. That's not an easy task, as that man has been the league leader in he's won the batting title last 2 years, once in the American League, once in the National League. That's crazy. And the Giants were able to do a lot of work in the against this bullpen. That's where they got most of their runs. They had an effective hit and run in that top of the 7th inning as Thairo took third on a Pat Bailey single to right, first and third with no outs. This was when the game was still tied 1-1, and gave the Giants an opportunity to get Keaton Winn his first win of the season. Giants actually took the lead on a ground ball double play. And Nick Ahmed hit a sharp shot up the middle, and credit Arise, who isn't really known for his defense, made a really great diving stop over the middle of second base. I mean, he was playing in, trying to get that runner going home, but with the way the ball was hit, the way he had to move to his right and dive to stop it, he had no play at home plate. But the dive, based on where he was playing, where he snared the ball, he was essentially standing on top of second base. All he had to do was tap that base, get up, make an easy, solid throw over to first base, got those 2 outs. But this situation happened with no outs, so the Giants pushed the run across. Nick Ahmed, a little bit of bad luck. They only get that 1 run in the inning as Thairo Estrada scored on the fielder's choice, but gave the Giants a 2-1 lead. They tacked on an insurance run in the 8th inning, and that was really all they needed. They didn't even need the insurance run in this one, as the Giants pitching staff really held down the Marlins. Good job picking up your first road series win of the season. This, again, it's the Marlins. I get it. They got 4 wins all season, 15 losses. This is a team you should beat. This is a team that would have been just so good to sweep, man. If they had been able to win last night, that would have been such a good feeling going back to start your 10-game homestand on the strength of a series sweep. That would have, I think, propelled the Giants really into this homestand that you got coming up, which does come at a very good time for the Giants. They need some of that Oracle Park magic to start stringing some wins together. I feel like every time the Giants win a game, they come back out the next day and lay an egg, just a dud of a game after wins for the Giants a lot of times in this season so far. And a lot of it has to do with this offense constantly underperforming, a power outage at the plate. It's been tough, especially for Keaton Winn. In his 4 starts, the Giants have averaged like less than 2 runs a game. I mean, this is the most run support Keaton Winn has had in a start. The 3 runs is the most runs that the Giants have scored in a Keaton Winn start. They scored 3 runs one other time this season so far, but that's it. Every other Keaton Winn start has been less than 3 runs of run support. It's really hard to win a game that way. If you're putting a guy in a position where he's got to pitch a 1-run game deep into like the 7th inning every single time he's on the mound, that's a lot of pressure to put on your 5th starter. You got to get this guy more run support. He has been giving the Giants so many good innings on the hill, and they just haven't been able to get it done for him. With today's performance, Keaton Winn's ERA drops below 4. So he's now at 3.86. ERA is whip 1.05. He's looking pretty good so far. 17 Ks over 21 innings pitched, and his ground ball rate is super high. 59% ground ball rate. That's one of the best in the leagues. He is exactly what you want to see from a pitcher on the hill. We'll break down a little bit more of this problem that Keaton Winn's kind of creating with the Giants going forward. And it's a good problem to have, but they're going to have so many starting pitchers, so many arms, so many pieces. How do you get all these guys playing time on the field? This is a problem, but it's a good problem. So we got to talk about that and what the Giants should do a little bit later on in the show. But in this one more thing I wanted to note, we saw Anthony Bender give up that insurance run for the Giants in the top of the 8th inning. Shout out Anthony Bender, who's a local guy here in the San Francisco Bay Area, grew up in Petaluma. I know this because I grew up with Anthony Bender. He was always that kid. He's a couple years younger than me, but Ant was always that kid who I feel like everyone grew up with someone like this. He from like, I was I think 2 years ahead of him, went to the same elementary school, same junior high, same high school. This kid was always in my age group. It didn't matter how much younger he was than everybody. This kid has been throwing heat since we were like 10 years old. So I am not surprised that Anthony Bender ended up in the bigs. He was the Marlins closer a couple of years ago. He's now been kind of demoted into one of those late relief pitchers. So, his MLB career is up and down, but just wanted to give a quick shout out to the local kid, Anthony Bender. Maybe he just felt like he wanted to give the hometown team, the Giants, a little bit of run support today. Maybe he was just throwing us a bone. Who knows? But I highly doubt that. But anyways, it was cool to see him out there. It's always fun to see people that you personally know playing in the bigs. That's kind of a cool thing for me. And that inning was nice for the Giants. It was a 2-out rally. Jung-Hoo Lee constantly going the other way, picks up another hit to the opposite field. Soler picked up his second hit of the day, also a hit the other way. And then Chapman, a hit the other way, put a double down the right field line on a 3-1 count, scores Jung-Hoo Lee. Soler goes to third. It was a big insurance run at the time. Felt like you could breathe a little bit as the Giants dugout probably was breathing a collective sigh of relief after that. But all of that came with 2 outs, and all of it came on opposite field hitting. That is the kind of stuff the Giants need to start doing to get back into a rhythm at the plate. Thairo Estrada seemingly has found his rhythm at the plate after a very slow start to the season. Another RBI for Thairo, another extra base hit for Thairo, another multi-hit game for Thairo in this one. I think they got to move him up in the order. I would really like to see that today's batting order, very strange. I'm not sure I like Jung-Hoo Lee as the 3 hitter. I think he needs to be the leadoff guy every single time. Austin Slater's not having a great year. I mean, it's tough to stay ready when you're not being used that often. And today he didn't really do a whole lot for the Giants. 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. He's batting barely over 100 this season. I want to see a lot more Tyler Fitzgerald than Austin Slater, honestly. And I want to see Jung-Hoo Lee leading off every single game this guy starts. He should be the leadoff batter. That shouldn't be a question ever. But I would like to see maybe Thairo moved up in the order. I think, honestly, a good spot for him is the 2-hole. You give a guy who's red hot at the plate an opportunity to get it going with one of the speediest guys in baseball on base. Jung-Hoo constantly going first to third, even first to home on a lot of these, hits in the gap, hits down the line. And Thairo seems to be a doubles machine right now. So I think you got to move Thairo up. I would like to see him bat second in the order. Maybe you move him up to fifth. You move Chapman down a little bit, Chapman did have that double with RBI double today, but he has been slumping a little bit at the plate. He hit a bomb yesterday as well. Chapman did on the loss. We won't really talk too much about that loss in this one. We know tough game to lose. You want to beat the Marlins. Yesterday, Jordan Hicks seemed like he was going to be the stopper. Didn't work out that way. We didn't get to cover the game yesterday because we're busy covering that massive Warriors game in the play-in tournament, which did not go very well for the Dubs. But anyways, I digress. The Giants needing to be able to string some wins together. That's where we're at right now. Yes, we know that they are good enough to win some games, and in middle around 500, the win brings them to 8-11 on the season. You're 3 games back from 500 now. You want to shrink that gap. By the end of this homestand, I would like to see the Giants over 500. Just 1 game over 500, I will be happy. Even at 500, I would be okay with that. I want the Giants to finish this homestand, though, this 10-game homestand, 1 game over 500. You do have to play the defending National League champions, the Diamondbacks, the Arizona Diamondbacks, which sounds really weird to say, the defending National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks. But you will have to face them during that homestand. That's the Giants' next matchup on Friday, a day off tomorrow. Giants haven't had a lot of those this season. A getaway day from Miami today, picking up the win. Good job closing out this series, finally getting a win. This postcast would have been much different tone-wise if the Giants lost this series to the Marlins. We can't celebrate too much because the Marlins are a bad team. I'm not going to say we're really celebrating at all, but this is good signs for the Giants. You want them to win series. If you If you win every series you play, if you take two out of three for every series throughout the year, obviously you're going to win a lot of games. You're going to end up in the postseason, probably going to win your division. But the Giants need to figure out how to string some of these games together. Have the offense produce for more than just one game and then taking 2 or 3 days off. You need scoring. You need runs. You need to give these guys run support. The Giants pitching staff has been, for the most part, pretty solid this year, especially Keaton Winn, who's giving the Giants kind of an issue, backlog in that starting pitcher slot, especially with guys like Alex Cobb, Robbie Ray waiting to come back from injured list, and you got guys like Mason Black who are down in AAA just dealing. You got Carson Wisenhunt, who's one of the top Giants prospects, kind of waiting in the wings. There's a lot of Giants starting pitchers waiting to get a chance. Where does Keaton Winn fit in with the staff going forward? We'll break that down next here on the Locked On Giants postcast. Stick with us. I am your host, Eric Engel. We will be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Spring training is over and baseball season is finally underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks entry today. PrizePicks has something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick LeBron, Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's right, deposit or download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants pick up the 3-1 win over the Miami Marlins in the getaway game in South Florida. The Giants return home for a 10-game homestand. Keaton Winn, great outing on the mound. It's sharp all season long, and he's given the Giants a problem at pitcher, a good problem, but they're back. They have so many pitchers that are waiting to come in and start games for this team. Jordan Hicks, obviously a staple in this starting pitching staff. At this point, I think he's solidified himself, at least for now, barring injury or like a crazy drop off. I think he's here to stay. Keaton Winn has kind of showed you the same thing so far this season, which means Giants have kind of a problem because obviously Logan Webb, Kyle Harrison, Blake Snell, those 3 guys are here to stay. Those are that's the top of your staff no matter what. But the way Jordan Hicks has been pitching, he's kind of been one of the Giants' better, top 2 pitchers this year, maybe I would say. And Keaton Winn has been maybe top 3, top 4. Like, these guys are really doing some excellent work out of the bottom of the pitching rotation. And you got Alex Cobb waiting to come back. You got Robbie Ray, who's going to come back at some point this season. You got Mason Black, who's tearing it up in AAA, winning Player of the Week awards left and right. I mean, he is dealing down there. And of course, you have Carson Wisenhunt, who every Giants fan should know by this point. Came up last year briefly. We all know the high potential he has. Some people think he could be better than Kyle Harrison. And when you have this many guys, I mean, you have 4 starting pitchers essentially waiting to come up. I mean, and they have a couple guys in their bullpen that could eventually convert to starters. I think Roop is going to eventually convert to being a starter. So you have all of these guys ready and waiting to join this starting pitching staff. What do they do? Do they keep all these guys down in AAA and maybe bring them up and put them in the bullpen? But the bullpen's already got a lot of arms in it, man. So what do you do with these pieces? I think at a certain time this season, who knows when it's going to be, before the trade deadline, the Giants need to go out and get a bat. You're going to need to move some of these arms, and you're going to need to get something back in return for them. I mean, you think about what Keaton Winn has provided the Giants this year. Every start that he has like this makes him harder and harder to trade, but every start he has like this boosts his value that much more. He's shown that he's a pitcher, not just a thrower. He doesn't have the greatest, quote, stuff. Like, he's not Kyle Harrison up there just dancing that high velo fastball up in the zone and daring guys to hit it and then dropping, the off-speed stuff in afterwards. And Kyle Harrison is one of those guys who just has such a live arm that even if he makes a mistake, good luck trying to hit it. With Keaton Winn, his pitches, the actual quality of his stuff is not on a Kyle Harrison level. So he's got to win in different ways. And he's become so much more of a pitcher, not a thrower. This guy is constantly working around jams, getting out of tough innings. He's not walking guys. He's playing, to quote one of my favorite one of my favorite movies, Training Day. This blank is chess, not checkers. That's what Keaton Winn doing up there. He is playing chess, not checkers on the mound, and he knows exactly where to attack guys in the zone, gets a ton of ground ball outs, a lot of double plays. He has been on fire. Like I said earlier in the show, a sub-4 ERA now. And the Giants not really giving him a lot of run support, so his numbers don't look as good as they could, but the 59% ground ball rate is crazy. One of the best in the league. This guy knows how to get outs, how to pitch to contact in the big leagues, and that can get you something very valuable in return. I'm not talking about a Carlos Beltran one-year rental kind of thing, half-season rental, not a Chris Bryant rental. If they're going to trade someone like Keaton Winn, you need to get back a big bat that is under team control for a couple more years. You got to try and find one of those guys, I think, to add to this Giants lineup. It just feels like they're missing something still. They need one more piece. You can't have this many automatic outs essentially in your lineup. I mean, the bottom of this order, we've talked about it over and over and over again, but Nick Ahmed again, 0 for 4. Tyler Fitzgerald did pick up a hit in this one. He was batting in the 9-hole, 1 for 4 today. But the bottom of the order has really lacked production for the Giants this whole season. And if you do add another big bat that can slot into the middle of the order, maybe you don't need to move Thairo Estrada up the order. You can move him down, or maybe you do move him up in the order and you move Matt Chapman down in the order. And it makes the bottom of your order so much more dangerous, so it gives them so much more of an ability to score runs in those last couple spots in the order. And you need to have some production from those spots. It doesn't need to carry your team, but you need to get something out of those spots in the lineup. Another big bat would really help that. And I don't know how much of a difference we're going to see between a guy like Keaton Winn and a guy like Mason Black or Alex Cobb or Robbie Ray. I mean, all of these guys seem like they'll be able to give you relatively the same. Maybe they're not all the same style of pitchers, but they're all going to be able to come in as your number 5 pitcher. And any of those guys as your number 5 pitcher sounds pretty good to me. So I think you are in a position with the Giants. You just have so many pieces, so many arms. You got to figure out how to turn some of those arms into production at the plate. That is where the Giants are lacking. I think you need to consider trading Keaton Winn. And I know that's crazy to say after what we just saw from him on the mound today, but I think that's where we're at right now with this Giants offense. And I don't think it's really going to get a whole lot better as the season goes forward. Yes, you do want to give it some time. I don't think they should make this trade in the month of April at all. If by the end of May, this offense still isn't clicking, if we're going into looking at turning the calendar to June and we're still talking about these same offensive struggles, not showing any signs of consistency, up and down every day, seems like one day they'll produce 9-10 runs, 7, 8, 9 runs. The next day they're just going to drop the ball, lay an egg, maybe score 1. And you got to find a way to have more consistency at the dish. It's tough. It's tough to see what the Giants are doing at the plate right now. Again, they did do just enough to win today, but a 3-1 win over the Marlins. You want to see a little more from this Giants offense. We got a few more things to break down in this one. Stick with us. On the other side, we'll talk more about how important the series win was for the Giants. look a little bit ahead to this 10-game homestand coming up. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. We've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good, a lot like that Warriors game last night. If you're feeling low, not sure how you or your team can pull up and pull out a win, that's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friends' money as I possibly can. That's right, the smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone anytime with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards, make your friends bankrupt while smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball, charge other players rent for your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb that leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. And Locked On Sports Bay Area is brought to you by FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast on Locked On Sports Bay Area. Giants beat the Marlins 3-1 today out there in Miami. Getaway game. Come back home for a 10-game homestand. First up, the Arizona Diamondbacks, defending National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks. And you I just want to point out, you got a couple cool giveaways for the Giants in this homestand. You got the Logan Webb basketball jersey. I really want one of those. You got the Pat Bailey bobblehead on 420. Shout out 420, one of the best days, my favorite holiday of the year. If you guys are 420s, I hope you join me in celebrating 420. I know I will be celebrating for sure. One of my favorite days of the year. And as many people in San Francisco will. Shout out the San Francisco 420th community, right? And so anyways, make sure you get out to the yard if you're able to during this next homestand. I feel like this is the time the Giants are going to start to string some things together. Again, if they can finish this homestand over 500, I think this changes how we are viewing this team. It could really give them a jumping off point going forward. You got 3 series at Oracle. You definitely need to win 2 of these series. Absolutely need to win 2 of these series. 3 series wins would be great. The Giants can walk out of here. Again, if you end up sweeping someone and then losing, 2 out of 3 to someone else in this homestand, that's fine too. You just need to finish this homestand over 500. Break away from that gravitational pull of 500, or maybe use that gravitational pull of 500 to lift you back up to 500 because they're currently below, and then shed it and keep climbing that ladder. The Giants really need to start showing some consistency offensively, and I think that the home crowd at Oracle will lift them to that. The Giants have struggled in recent years to get fans out to the yard, and that's not good. Oracle had so many sellouts, so many consecutive sellouts for so many years during the dynasties in the 2010s. And the juice just isn't there for what it used to be. And this season, we've seen glimpses of it. The Giants have already had as many sellouts this year as they did last season at home. There's something more to Oracle Park. There's more life in the fan base this year than there has been in prior years. A lot of fans were tired of showing up to the yard and seeing Scott Alexander pitch an inning and a half and then get yanked for another bullpen guy. And we'd see 5, 6, 7 pitchers in one game where, you didn't know who your everyday leadoff guy was, who your everyday cleanup hitter was, who your everyday 3-hole hitter was. The Giants didn't have any consistency last year on the field. And I think that played a lot into why the fans didn't show up. Now you have that. You know your starting pitchers are going to go deep every day. You know you're going to go out through the yard and see Jung-Hoo Lee. You're going to see Matt Chapman. You're going to see Jorge Soler in the lineup every day. This helps the Giants in a lot more ways than one. One of them being the fan base showing up, having someone to root for that they actually know who it is, and they can be inspired, passionate, fill that team with confidence in their home ballpark. And they need that so bad right now. They need to string some wins together, and this homestand comes at a perfect time for the Giants to be able to do that. They, again, off day tomorrow. The Giants play again Friday against the Diamondbacks, the start of this 10-game homestand. It's the start of a 4-game series against the Diamondbacks. The Giants need to start stringing some wins together. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. That's about all the time that we got for you guys today. Oh, wait, one more thing. We forgot to do this together. How could I forget? Speaking of Giants giveaways, if you got your Camilo Doval bobblehead saves counter tracker, let's go ahead and do this together real quick. We're going to move it to 71 to 72. Yeah, there we go. Doval picking up another save tonight, giving you some acknowledgement on the stream. That's about all the time we have for you today. Now, had to get that in there. You know how important those Camilo Doval saves are. So that wraps it up for us today on the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will see you next time as the Giants return home to face the Diamondbacks. Thanks for sticking with us in this one. Thanks to the Giants for not making me stress out about losing the series to the Marlins. We'll see you next time. Peace.